So today we will be taking up the topic cyber security. There's an article saying that personal details leaks detected on dark web. Personal details, personal data of few individuals of India were leaked in the dark web. So this data included 2000 Aadhaar cards and data of 18 million Indians. So in such a vast level, data was leaked online in dark web. Dark web is nothing but that particular part of internet which is not under any regulation. It's completely opaque and is mostly used for illegal activities. So in such portions of internet or in such dark web, our Aadhaar details and few individual details of India were leaked. So this is a major cyber issue. This is already taken up by state and center cyber agencies for investigation. So we have to analyze this issue as a cyber safety issue, and we have to analyze cyber security as a topic with respect to prelims and mains, right? So if we dig deep into this issue is a serious issue because 2000 Aadhaar cards details are involved. 2000 Aadhaar card details were leaked, and also 18 million Indians data was also leaked. This also includes 2.9 crore Indians who are seeking job. Even those people's job resumes and other details were also leaked. Now, without their permission, these details were leaked into the dark web. Now, this shows up to a major extent or up to what extent privacy of an individual is protected in our country. So there is privacy violations here because that details might contain sensitive information about an individual also, right? So this is violation of privacy of individuals. So before we go into the cyber security and what are the different agencies taking up the cyber security, we'll go through some incidents which happened recently, which are similar to this cyber attacks. What were the recent cyber attacks? So one is the issue which we have seen, the leaks in the dark web. And the other important issue was Pegasus spyware. This spyware was detected a few months ago, which actually infected prominent lawyers and prominent human rights activists in India. Their gadgets and mobile phones were compromised using this spyware. So this spyware was used to infect few prominent Indians. So this was in news for that reason. So this spyware was manufactured by Israel, but also here we can see a cyber attack involved, which is related to Pegasus spyware. So this Pegasus name is important for us with respect to prelims because they might frame a question saying Pegasus recently in news related to spyware, malware, a portal launched by the government, like those options can be given. So we need to have a broad idea that is related to spyware, right? So this is the second attack, second important attack. This attack approximately attacked 20 countries, and almost 1400 devices were found to be infected because of this Pegasus spyware. So this spyware has the potential of making our own mobile devices as spy devices. It can access each and every data of our mobile phone. It comes through a WhatsApp video call. It comes simply through a WhatsApp video call. Whether you answer it or not, it infects your mobile device. Such is the grave scenario of cyber security in our country. So this is second important attack, Pegasus spyware attack. And the third important attack is the recent attack on Kudankulam nuclear power plant. Cyber attack was done even on Kudankulam nuclear power plant. And here the malware that was involved was D-Track. D-Track malware. The name of the malware is D-Track. This actually tried to attack and get the data from the internet base of Kudankulam nuclear power plant. Now we can just imagine how grave the scenario can be because it's being a nuclear power plant. If at all it comes into the wrong hands of wrong people, then this is a major threat even to the national security because it's a nuclear power plant. Any accidents which are manufactured by those people, it will lead to huge dire consequences, right? So this is the third important attack, D-Track malware attack on Kudankulam nuclear power plant. We need to be thorough with the name of the malware. And in this context, I want to introduce a term called critical information infrastructure. Critical information infrastructure. This is one such infrastructure, if at all this is tampered, will lead to dangerous consequences. In fact, is a threat to sovereignty and security of the country also. Critical information infrastructure. What comes under this critical information infrastructure? Just we have discussed the nuclear power plants, huge multi-purpose dams, military equipments, space technology of our country, such critical and important infrastructure. All these come under critical information infrastructure. So D-track malware attack on Kudankulam power plant is also one such attack on critical information infrastructure, right? So this is a third attack which we have to know. And the fourth recent attack was the Navy espionage case. Navy espionage case. Espionage, E-S-P-I-O-N-A-G-E case. So what is this Navy espionage case? To simply say the story, few people from the Indian Navy, they were cheated by the Pakistani people. Honey trapping was used. What is this honey trapping? Few Pakistani intelligence based people have cheated our Indian Navy by creating social media accounts on names of girls, women, right? So on names of women, they have created few profiles and they successfully extracted some confidential information related to our Indian Navy from this personnel. This is known as honey trapping. So in all these incidents, in the personal details leak which you have seen today, or the Pegasus spyware attack, or the D-track malware attack on Kudankulam nuclear power plant, or the recent Navy espionage issue, if we analyze all these issues, we can see how serious are the consequences if cyber security is not in place, and how serious can the consequences can be if there are any such cyber attacks, right? So in this context, we have to know what is the initiatives and what is the cyber security framework in our country. Now, before going to that, we should list down what are the possible consequences of cyber attacks with respect to mains. So first one is privacy of the individual. Privacy of the individual is compromised because of such cyber attacks, data thefts. And as we know, privacy is integral to fundamental right, Article 21, which was said even in the Puttaswamy case, right? So privacy of individuals is compromised. That is the first consequence because of such cyber attacks. The second important point is national security of the country is also at risk because of such cyber attacks, which we have seen, which we have discussed recently, the Indian Navy issue or the Kudankulam power plant issue. National security of the country is at threat. The third important point is terrorism taking a new dimension. Just imagine if the terrorists start using these cyber attacks instead of the normal conventional attacks they do. Instead of that, if they start investing their efforts in cyber attacks, that is also a huge threat to a country like India, which is already facing threat of terrorism. So to curb terrorism also, we need robust cyber security framework, right? So third major consequence of such cyber attacks is terrorism increasing in India. And also because of such cyber attacks, we do have some economic losses also. Ease of doing business will be impacted. Just imagine, does any company expect to invest amount in a country where there is no cyber security? Will a country be willing to invest money or bring in investments into a country where there are more cyber attacks going on? No, right? So this impacts ease of doing business in our India, because companies do have some confidential data or competitive data, or they might be having patents or trade secrets. Those all are related to competition. But if any such cyber attack happens on a company and their important data is looted, then such companies don't have any incentive to invest in India. So economic losses are also there because of this. So ease of doing business is decreasing because of such cyber attacks. That is also one possible consequence. And the other one is women and children. These are more vulnerable to such cyber attacks. Sexual harassment through online medium is increasing. So women and children, impacts on them is also a consequence of cyber attacks or cyber crimes, right? And also other important consequences, If we get to know the personal details of an individual by data theft, which happened recently, we will be knowing the health vulnerabilities of an individual, what all diseases an individual has, what is he allergic to, not only health vulnerabilities, we can know each and every detail of that individual, and personalized harassments and personalized targets are possible if this comes into wrong hands. Data leaks has consequences on individual vulnerabilities also. They can be misused for personal gains. So all these are consequences: privacy issues, national security issues, terrorism issue, economic losses, women and children issues, attacks on individuals. All these are some consequences because of cyber attacks and cyber crimes. Now, we'll try to first of all know what is the existing legal framework to deal with such cyber crimes in India. So the important act is IT Act 2000, Information Technology Act 2000. This is the act which is presently dealing with punishing or recognizing cyber crimes with respect to India. The IT Act 2000. This lists out all the possible punishments for hacking, cheating, cyber terrorism. All possible cyber crimes are listed in this act. So this is the act that deals with cyber security issues in India. IT Act 2000, Information Technology Act. Now, after this act, our Ministry of Home Affairs, cyber security comes mostly under the domain of Home Affairs in our India. We have to remember this. So Home Ministry takes care of cyber security. Now, as a part of that, our government of India has brought National Cyber Security Policy also. Apart from IT Act, there is also a policy, National Cyber Security Policy 2013. Right? So this is a policy related to how comprehensively we have to tackle the cyber security. Right? So as a part of this, 2 to 3 important bodies were set up under this policy by our government. The first one is CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team, CERT. CERT. Right? So this basically tackles all the cyber security efforts and also individual specific cyber crimes. Right? So this is the body, CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team. So this basically takes care of individual cyber crimes and also acts as nodal agency for cyber security efforts. CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team. And this works under MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Right? So this body, CERT, works under MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Right? So this is one point. Second body is NCIIPC. NCIIPC, National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. As we have discussed before, critical information infrastructure, the nuclear power plants, the dams, all these critical infrastructure, to protect them, a separate body is created. That is NCIIPC, National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. Right? So this is basically to secure the critical infrastructure of our country. NCIIPC. So this is the second body. Now the third body is NCCC. NCCC, National Cyber Coordination Center. NCCC. So this is a nodal body, or it is a coordinating body for all the intelligence gathering agencies. National Cyber Coordination Center. It coordinates all the intelligence gathering agencies. So roughly and broadly, we have to know what these bodies do. CERT is one such body, NCIIPC is one such body, and NCCC is also another body. These three bodies are primarily set up for tackling cyber security issues in our country. Right? Now, recently there was an initiative taken up by the Home Affairs Ministry. Home Affairs Ministry. That is I4C. In the year 2020, January month, Ministry of Home Affairs has officially launched this I4C. Number 4C. This is Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. I4C. This is important with respect to prelims because there might be a direct bit asking I4C related to, and 4 options can be given. So I4C we have to know, that is Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. This is set up by Ministry of Home Affairs. So now how is this body different from the previous bodies which we have discussed? Previously we discussed CERT, NCIIPC and NCCC. Now this body is unique in the sense that it also involves private people's collaboration in cyber security efforts. Now this body also involves and invites private sector collaboration in cyber security efforts. Right? This is the uniqueness of this initiative. Not only government, but government and private sector together have to take up the cyber security operations. So that is the philosophy of this body, and this is I4C, comes under Home Affairs Ministry. And this is one recent initiative which is important with respect to prelims. Now, what is the way forward? Now, in spite of having this legal system, in spite of having IT Act, in spite of having 2 to 3 bodies, and in spite of taking recent initiatives, yet we have seen a personal data leak on the dark web, which is involved with our Aadhaar cards and also employment details. Now, how to stop these things? These things have to be stopped in a comprehensive and holistic manner. 360 degrees approach is required for to stop such cyber attacks. Now, how is that possible? So we will be listing out some few ideas which we have to put up in mains. Like to solve the cyber security issues, what more can be done, right? The first one is data protection law has to be there. The first idea is data protection law has to be there. In India, as of now, we don't have any law that actually protects the data and the personal data of an individual. We don't have a law that protects the personal data of an individual. Because of this, we are seeing in newspapers, which we have seen now, that Aadhaar data was leaked into dark web. This is all is happening because we don't have a robust or a tight law that takes care of the protection of people's data. So we have to bring a data protection law. This is still in draft stage. Already there was a committee set up which is called BN Sri Krishna Committee Report. BN Sri Krishna Committee. So this BN Sri Krishna Committee recommended for a data protection law. This is not yet passed in the parliament, but is still in the draft stages, right? So this is data protection law. So we need one such data protection law. So this is one step. The second step required is data localization. Data localization. We might have come across this word also. So what is this data localization? Data localization is nothing but storing the entire data within India. Now, all the data we use, all the data which we consume in internet, all the data we produce in our mobile phones, in our tabs, in all the gadgets, all the data which an individual consumes, which an individual produces, and also which the government collects, all this data has to be stored in India. This is the philosophy behind data localization. Even the multinational companies which actually use people's data, that also has to be stored within India. Then we have more control over the data and we can stop leakages of data from these companies to other hands, right? So we need to have data localization. This is the second idea. The third idea is the bodies which we have now for tackling cyber security, they need to work in a more coordinated way, not in silos, not separately. A coordinated approach of all the bodies is required. This is the third step required, right? And the fourth one is indigenization of technologies. This is an important thing. Indigenization of infrastructure and technologies. What is indigenization? Producing everything on our own. Rather than using other countries' gadgets, rather than using other countries' infrastructure, rather than using equipments provided by other countries or missiles or any equipments or new instruments provided by other countries, our country has to produce everything on its own. Then we have very less chances of other countries trying to steal our data or trying to spy our data, right? So in this way, up to a major extent, we can reduce such cyber attacks. Only when we stop relying on other countries' infrastructure and start building our own infrastructure on our own. This is known as indigenization of technology and infrastructure. As a part of this, the present government is taking various initiatives with respect to defense, with respect to space. In all the fields, our government is trying for indigenization because we can reduce cyber attacks up to a major extent when we produce everything on our own, right? The next step is we need to have a dedicated force for the cyber security. A particular set of people who are very well skilled to deal with these issues, we need them. So skill development with respect to cyber security is also required. We need to formulate a dedicated cyber security force for this. So manpower has to be there. Sufficient manpower we have to generate who can tackle with these cyber security issues. Right? So that is one important step. And other most important step is promoting digital literacy. Promoting digital literacy. Digital literacy is empowering and educating the users, those who are using the data, or those who are producing the data, or those who are using their gadgets, or those who are trying to access internet. These people have to be given awareness about their rights, awareness of do's and don'ts in the internet. This is known as digital literacy. They need to know, or they need to take every step in internet with their full consciousness. So this is the philosophy behind digital literacy. So when we increase digital literacy, we can save people from going into the traps of cyber frauds, right? So digital literacy has to be increased. So these are some of the initiatives which we have to take to comprehensively tackle the cyber security issues. So efforts are required from the consumers or the user side, efforts are required from the government side, and also efforts are required from the private sector side, right? So to conclude this topic, see, the government of India or the country of India is trying to aspire to become a $5 trillion economy. Technology wise, we are trying to adopt new technologies like artificial intelligence and blockchain technologies. We are also talking about fourth industrial revolution, where robots will be doing most of the repetitive jobs rather than humans. And we are trying to create a vision of our country that everything will be automated by internet. Now in such a vision, if we don't have proper cyber security, there can be serious consequences. When everything we are keeping in the hands of technology, and if we don't have a strong cyber security framework, definitely that can lead to some troubles, right? So cyber security is equally important.